back up here into the States to work with our headquarters. But in that process, God answered a lot of prayers for us. I know many of you guys are praying for us. I'm going to give a little bit of update on that. But first, I'm going to go ahead and hit, we'll watch this video here, a quick little 2-minute video, and then I'll share some of those updates.
Hi, we're the Farmers. I'm Jason.
And I'm Kim, and we have 4 children. 2 are grown. Caleb and Noah live in Colorado, and 2 kids, Katie and Micah, still live at home and are being homeschooled.
For the past 15 years, we've been living down in Mexico, and I've been serving as a missionary pilot, flying for pastors, Bible translators, missionaries, different indigenous pastors and teachers, as well as doing quite a few medical clinics that we were organizing and running those medical clinics down there. And for quite some time, we've been feeling the Lord's leading, moving us up here to Arizona to work at the mission headquarters. I'm going to be working as the assistant director with the mission. I'll be working alongside our director. We're going to be working on some vision casting and looking at different groups that we might be able to partner with in the future, different missionaries that we might be able to partner with, different ministry avenues that we can use the airplane behind us and some of our other aircraft, that we can continue to use those aircraft to serve the Lord and to glorify Him. So we'll be working alongside of that. Hopefully I'll still get to do a little bit of flying, not quite as much as I was doing down in Mexico, but we're still planning to do some flying with the mission. But I'll be doing a lot of just the in and out, day-to-day things with the mission. Like just this last week, I was working on importing a tractor down into Mexico. So there's going to be a lot of different things that I'll be doing up here, and there's a big learning curve to it, but I'm starting to figure things out and to work some of those things.
My ministry will still be mostly the same, living in Tucson. Still continue with website design and making videos for social media and YouTube. I'll also be involved in fundraising and writing emails for the mission and just telling the stories from the mission field. I also do a lot of the promotional materials, designing shirts and brochures and banners so we can get the word out to as many people as possible about the work that New I Am does.
We just want to say thank you to you guys for being a part of the ministry that the Lord has for us. Many of you have been praying for us. Many of you have been giving towards us. And we just want to say thank you, and we appreciate every one of you. And hopefully in the next year or two, we will be able to see some of you guys face to face.
Thank you so much.
Probably for the last couple of years, we've been feeling God's leading us, moving us on out of Mexico and up to Tucson to work with our headquarters. And in that process, there was many things that we needed to accomplish. We wanted to hand on the ministry well. That was really important to us to be able to hand on the ministry well. So we trained up a couple guys. I trained up 2 different pilots to take my place, and then I was working as the area manager, the team lead in that area, and so I was able to hand off all those responsibilities. And sometimes you feel like you beat your head against the wall. We tried a bunch of different projects, and some of them took off and went places, and some didn't. And you just kind of get tired and worn out, and you're like, I think it's time to hand this on to the next generation to do. And so that was, it was an exciting time for us to be able to hand it on. These guys got fresh energy, fresh ideas, and it's been great to see what they've done with the ministry since we've left, and then how they've been able to take it and roll with the ministry down there in Tepic, Mexico. During this move was a really stressful one for us. There's a lot of things going on, and I know many of you guys were praying for us. One of the huge answers to prayer was we were trying to decide how are we going to get our stuff out of Mexico. And we had a big cargo trailer up here and a big 1-ton truck, but they don't hardly ever give a visa to let your big 1-ton truck in, and I'd have to cancel my current visa to get a tourist visa, and those are some big concerns. And so we were praying, and I went down to the border, and I almost even just canceled it because everything I was saying, so there's no way I'm getting a permit to get my truck in. And I don't know if all you guys were praying for us as well, but God opened up an amazing door. We were able to get the permit for our truck, get a special permit, just to be able to bring the truck and trailer in. I didn't have to cancel my visa, which was another huge request, another huge prayer request. We spent a lot of time and money and effort to get those visas into Mexico, which allow me a little bit more freedom as I travel in the future in and out of Mexico. and we were able to get it down. In that process going down, driving through Mexico is no fun task, especially when you've got a huge cargo trailer behind you. We got stopped 15 times from the border to our town. It was a 2 or 3 day drive south. It was about a 3 day drive south to go, and we got stopped 15 times. And I'd say 90% of the time those stops were legit, and the guys were actually very gracious, and they wanted to see what we were traveling, what we had in the trailer, why we had this huge trailer, because that's not a very common sight down there. And there was another missionary that was moving down to central Mexico, close to where we were, so we were able to pick up his stuff and bring his stuff down. But one of the stops we ran into, it was our second day of traveling, and we were 10 minutes from the hotel. We got to one stop, and these guys were particularly ornery. And they were going through it. They went through my phone, and then that got into the weeds with some things, and they were trying to pin something on us. And sorry for the guys in by these, and it was kind of a little bit of a fearful time. There was rumors going out that they were going to be going into hotels in some of these tourist areas, and who knows where else, and grabbing Americans out and killing Americans on site. There was all kinds of stuff going on. Some of our coworkers were a little like, oh, maybe we ought to evacuate. And we're like, no, we've seen it all before. Let's just, hang in. We were so close to the finish line. We thought, we don't want to have to evacuate now and come back. And in the midst of all that, I was just praying. I was like, I'm tired. I'm weary. It's been a lot of stress in what we're doing down there. And I was like praying to God and thinking about the trip north. And I was like, I don't think I can handle 15 stops like we had down here. I don't think I can handle it. And I was like, maybe I got 1 or 2, maybe 3 in me, but I was like, Lord, you're going to have to give me some special grace, some special strength to go through this, And as we came north, we got stopped 1 or 2 times really quick, let us go right through, and then God sent this sandstorm, and this sandstorm was nasty, and it was blowing sand, and we came up to a couple other checkpoints, and as we got stopped at those checkpoints, the guy was asking us questions, and his boss was kind of huddled behind the little shed there that they were next to, trying to stay out of the sandstorm. And he goes, hey, do you want to inspect the trailer? And the boss goes, no. That happened probably about 3 different times. I thought, how cool is that God sent a sandstorm to protect us? Who would have thought that would have been a blessing? But that was a huge blessing. We were able to get across the border with our things, and God's just provided for us. One of the things, we're from Colorado. We like the green. You guys got a lot of green around here. Where we left in Mexico is right where desert tropical meet, so we're kind of in a bit of a tropical paradise. And I was really lamenting the fact of moving to Tucson, Arizona, where there is no green. And it's just dry, and we love the water, and God provided us a wonderful house that we could buy that was right on a lake there. And I thought, where do you find a lake in the middle of Tucson, in the middle of the desert, and it's just this beautiful oasis. And we feel really blessed that God provided that for us. It's just a nice little getaway. But we're excited for this next phase of life. We're excited to be working. I've been working the last couple months in the hangar there, and it's just been neat to be able to get into this role and, been able to sink my teeth into it a little bit and just see what God's doing. And pray for us as we transition into this. We just, Kim and I just went to a week-long conference in Colorado Springs at the Missionary Training Institute, where we debrief, all the things that God's done in Mexico, all the stresses that we've had, the good things, the bad things. We kind of talked through those, and then the re-entry process, something they shared with us is missionaries that have lived overseas for a certain amount of time, you come back and there's a bit of a culture shock coming back to America, and there's a bit of, the America that we left 15 years ago isn't the same America that we're coming into, and it's a bit of like culture learning and process, and we're like, oh, that's probably why we're feeling so tired and worn out, and we speak the language and we kind of know the culture, but yet there's still things that we're learning and relearning, moving back into America. So pray for us in that process, too. We're excited what God's got in the future. One of my big heart's desires is I'd really love for our ministry to open a new base, and maybe even a base outside of Mexico. Right now, all of our aviation ministry is happening in Mexico. I'd love to see that branch out into another country. And so pray for me. I don't know yet what that is and what God would have for us. We've got a lot of great people on our team and a lot of great assets, and we still want to use those to glorify God. And so, it's a huge task, and we're just kind of following the Lord step by step in this process, and we appreciate your prayers as we do that, and as we help lead our team and guide them to what God's got. So we just want to say thanks again for your prayers, your support. Kim did put out some prayer cards. We have new prayer cards. I don't know where you put those.
On a little table right in the foyer.
Yeah, and if you don't get our newsletters, she put out a newsletter sign-up sheet. Feel free to sign up for that. Some of you may have seen that video. We put it out in our newsletter, I think. But again, we just want to say thank you guys for all your prayers for us. We know that you're praying. We could feel your prayers, and we just